Secrets. We all have them. Hidden away, locked in the quiet corners of our minds. But what if those secrets weren't truly yours? What if they were heard, extracted, and then whispered back to you? Not by a person, but by something ancient. Something that lives in the silence, feeding on the unsaid. There's a sound some say only the damned can hear. A breathless whisper curling around your ear like smoke in the dark. They say if you're alone long enough, if the silence stretches too thin, she finds you. If we listen closely, the whispers are rarely alone. Shut the door, kill the light, and listen closely, because some silences are not empty. This is The Quiet Room, Silence Undone. Tonight's tale is Whispers in the Bone. India, a landscape often bustling, yet harbouring pockets of profound quiet. It's in these forgotten spaces that some truths and some terrors are said to reside. Our story tonight begins not with a scream, but with a silence. In the summer of 2019, a second-year engineering student named Ritesh moved into room 306 of the old west wing of a now-defunct boys' hostel on the edge of Lucknow. The building had a reputation, a vague one. People whispered about failed inspections, a suicide back in the 90s, strange smells. But the rent was cheap and the management eager to fill the crumbling rooms. Room 306 had been locked for years. The keys had to be fished out of a dusty file cabinet. The windows were stuck. The air inside, stale, like it hadn't moved in decades. But Ritesh didn't care. He had a mattress, his books, a laptop, and silence. The first few nights were uneventful, until the fourth. That night he woke up at 3:17 a.m. There was no sound, just a feeling like someone had been watching him and had just stepped away. He chalked it up to stress, but the next night it happened again. This time he heard something, not a knock, not a creak. A whisper right behind his ear. Low, urgent, breathy. Listen. He turned. Nothing. Checked the hallway. Empty. But when he returned to his bed, his blanket was folded. He hadn't done that. And then it started. A whisper, faint as a moth's wings against his ear. So close he felt a phantom breath. It wasn't the sound of the wind. It was his name, breathed with an unnerving intimacy. Then a snippet of a memory he hadn't thought of in years. The precise words his grandmother had whispered to him before she passed. A secret wish he'd never shared with a living soul. His grandmother's words, how could anyone know? Before he could process the shock, another voice, dry and reedy, recounted the exact location of his hidden savings in his bedroom, down to the loose floorboard under his bed. Every detail, chillingly accurate. This wasn't a guess. This was knowledge, intimate, unholy knowledge. The whisper returned every night after. Ritesh's behaviour changed. He stopped going to classes. He'd sit in silence, staring at the blank wall above his bed, mumbling to himself. He felt a chilling presence directly behind him. a pressure against his back, heavy and cold. He could almost feel it breathing the very air he exhaled. And then a searing pain in his ear, as if an icy needle had pierced his eardrum. It wasn't physical, it was ethereal, yet agonizing. The whispers were now a furious, mocking chorus, echoing his terror, revealing every shameful secret, every fleeting malice he'd ever harbored, until the night itself seemed to be laughing at his exposed soul. His fleeting childhood jealousies, the small lies he told his parents, the unkind thoughts he'd had about friends, all laid bare, recited back to him in a chorus of spectral voices. At night, he wrote. He claimed he was transcribing what she said. Who she was, no one knew. But pages began piling up, scribbled in red ink. Diagrams, Sanskrit mantras, lists of offerings, gory symbols. The voices intensified, layering over each other, a cacophony of stolen thoughts and whispered desires. His thoughts, his desires, twisted and amplified. Ritesh was moved to a hospital, diagnosed with severe psychosis, but he never stopped whispering. One night a nurse found him standing naked in front of the mirror in his room, drawing symbols in blood on his chest. He had bitten his own tongue and scrawled 2 words on the wall with it. She's listening. Who is she? In the deepest folds of forgotten Indian folklore, hidden in temple ruins and whispered in half-lost dialects, lives a spirit both feared and misunderstood. Karnapishachini. Her name alone chills the air. Karna, meaning ear, and Pishachini, a female demon, a being who doesn't appear before she invades your mind, who doesn't scream, but suggests, gently, constantly, relentlessly. She's not the kind that knocks loudly at midnight. She's the one who suggests you open the door. Some traditions describe her as a minor demonic entity, specializing in eavesdropping and the revelation of hidden information. She feeds on the fear and chaos her disclosures create. Unlike a simple ghost, she doesn't haunt a place, she haunts the mind, the very essence of human privacy. She is drawn to the unspoken, the forgotten, and the carefully guarded. Imagine a being whose very purpose is to dismantle your inner world, one whispered secret at a time, to expose the cracks in your facade, not just to you, but to the very air around you. It's a violation far more insidious than physical harm, because it strikes at the core of your identity. Scholars believed she was invoked through a black ritual that demanded not blood, but confession. The ritual, Day 0, the beginning. Ritesh had found a translated Agori manuscript online, illegitimate, dangerous. He began without a guru, without protection. He chose room 306 because it faced west and stood near a neglected graveyard. He prepared tamsic offerings, raw meat, alcohol, menstrual blood, ashes. He painted a circle of bone dust and ghee. And on the new moon, just after midnight, he began the chant, over and over. Night 1. The lights flickered. A woman's sigh echoed through the room. He woke up with bruises on his thighs and lips on his neck. Night 4. She spoke his childhood secrets, secrets no one could know. Night 9. She appeared. At first, beautiful, then twisted. Her mouth wide, her eyes black. She whispered, lies. Then truths, then promises. Night 13, she tempted him. She took the form of a girl he had once loved, tried to seduce him, but he resisted. Night 20, he offered his blood, kneeling on a cold slab of stone he dragged in from the cemetery. Night 21, she entered him. He screamed all night. No one came. Weeks later, the hostel was shut down. Complaints of screams, cold spots, and a woman's laughter. Students spoke of whispers. Of dreams about a woman with eyes like night and bones made of wind. A few claimed they saw her, crouched on the wall above the beds, not moving, just listening. Room 306 was sealed, but some say she isn't bound to places. She's bound to ears. To control a Karnapishachini is a perilous endeavour, a dark science whispered about in the most isolated corners of tantric lore. It is not an act of prayer, but a brutal, mind-breaking ritual to dominate a chaotic force. This practice, or sadhana, is performed over many nights in places of profound spiritual impurity, like a cremation ground, on a seat fashioned from human remains. This is the true test of willpower, a battle of mind against a malevolent intelligence. To fail is not just to fall into madness, it is to have your very soul ripped from its mooring, leaving you an empty vessel. To succeed, the practitioner must withstand every terror, every temptation, until the spirit finally breaks. Only then can it be bound, a part of its essence trapped, forced to serve as an unwilling oracle, its whispers now a permanent, maddening presence in your ear. The cost of such forbidden knowledge is rarely just the ritual. It's a pact with a living nightmare, a life lived in constant vigilance, forever tethered to a being that feeds on the darkest truths, a whisperer that never truly leaves, even in the silence. One must sit in darkness completely alone and whisper their deepest secret to the void, once a night for 9 nights. On the 9th, if the secret remains unchanged and untold to another soul, she will come, not to harm, but to know. And once she knows your truth, she feeds on the silence it leaves behind. You become hollow, speechless, a shell of withheld agony. Some say she is not real, A ritual like this, with its extreme isolation, physical deprivation, and relentless focus, is simply engine for self-induced hallucination. The human mind under duress is a fragile thing. Sensory deprivation can lead to vivid visions, and the constant chanting could easily create auditory illusions. The secrets whispered back might not be from a spirit, but from the depths of the practitioner's own subconscious, their darkest fears, buried memories, and repressed anxieties, rising to the surface and manifesting as a malevolent entity. In this view, the Karnapishachini is a powerful Jungian archetype, the shadow self made real. The ritual becomes a symbolic battle to confront and master one's own inner demons. The binding is not of a spirit, but of the mind, a forced integration of the subconscious that leaves the practitioner forever changed, forever listening to a part of themselves they can never silence. Tonight, as you shut the door and kill the light, as you lay your head down, listen. Do you hear that? That gentle rustling just beyond your right ear. Don't turn, because she's not trying to scare you. Listen closely. For in the absolute darkness, in the deafening silence, you might just hear it. A whisper. Not of a stranger's secret, but of your own. And then you'll know you are not alone.